And that's why when Allegiance play later on today, they are the #1 seed coming out of the Gauntlet here. They have only one best of 3 to complete to be able to qualify for Super Regionals. It's a lot of hope and weight on their shoulders of being the #1 and then making roster changes as well, as many as they did as well.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. And that's a storyline we're going to look forward to. If Enemy are able to complete this this set, basically, and find the victory up against EnVyUs in the next 2 games, that's going to be an awesome storyline to talk about, is, you know, this tenured roster that's been together and stuck together through the thick and thin up against Allegiance, who have made some roster changes. Or if Envy are able to pull out the next 2 wins and they go up against Allegiance, which new roster is the better one? You know, it's going to be interesting to see either way. I'm really excited to see Allegiance play later on.
I still want to see more Keb solo. That's what I'm going to say. Envy have first pick, first ban this time round. Maybe they'll mix things up. Maybe they can get themselves that Loki they wanted earlier on. But we'll find out as we go into this one. Envy going to have a long, hard look at what they did right and wrong last game and see if they actually get themselves Terror as well. Is going to be available potentially.
Potentially, though, Enemy not a big fan of giving up that Terra, if I remember correctly, from the group stages. Erlong Shen bend away by Enemy this time. Last time it was them selecting it away. Enemy had the chance to first pick it and did not, so they don't want to try and tempt them with the pick there.
A lot of things that can just be flex banned more often than not. In your casual games, you'll see a lot of Fafnir and Terra banned out. Ao Kwang is generally quite high on that list, but in competitive play, it's mainly just the Terra that is 100% banned, and Jingwei's starting to climb that way as well.
Jingwei can be, but usually we see that in the second banning phase afterwards. Usually that's when you'll start to see those ADC bans start to come out. A lot of teams don't really prioritize their Hunter particularly early. That being said, Enemy did. They first picked their Hunter there with the Soul. So we'll have to see if Envy want to ban that away. I mean, PandaCat, even though he wasn't a part of the Camp Solo Fest, he was the one who ended up near the top of the leaderboards in damage. He was the one who was really just dominating in the later game stages. We'll have to see if Envy want to ban that away here.
Well, Enemy not going to change things here. They're going to go with the Bastard ban one more time round here. No real shock to me to see them do that. Just if it's not broke, why change it?
Exactly. Same goes for banning away the Giannis. I mean, Khaos didn't have a difficult time rather with that Raijin. Looked very, very comfortable on it, but even still, you do not want to give Khaos his signature god in that Giannis.
I'm expecting a Terra ban from Enemy as the final ban here, just because you can't really leave that god up. It just brings so much with the ultimate, let alone anything else he's got in the kit. The ultimate alone is just so impactful in team fights at any stage of the game, and not even team fights, just any situation.
That being said, though, the 2 counters to Terra are Odin and Ares. Those are the 2 support picks that you see a lot of, and we've seen Pain play Odin. We've seen
play Ares.
Him play Ares accidentally.
And then on purpose.
And then on purpose, and the on purpose one didn't go quite as well.
The on purpose should have been accidentally again, to be honest, after it played. If you would have said accidentally again, it would have been like, oh, you're an idiot, but at least you didn't pick Ares and lose that game. Anyway, Terra banned out, and it's over to Envy for the first pick this time round. A few things on the table. They could go for the Ra for team money again here.
Could, but that you know that Odin's probably going to be selected by Enemy.
Sure.
That being said, like we mentioned, the cage really wasn't that big of a problem for Team Money that game.
It was a problem for Kiki, but that was about it.
That was about it. So maybe you're feeling comfortable enough to select that away. We've seen Team Money also play Raijin, but that's banned. So we'll have to see what he wants to go for with those 2 gods, you know, potentially want to be picked here.
Very, very true indeed. It will be Sol for Envy this time, so take it away from PandaCat. Kind of decent enough choice there, just to solidly lock it.
I like it. We saw Cabom play it earlier. He looked comfortable enough on it to warrant a pick early on, especially because PandaCat loves this god so much. You want to take it out of his hands. The problem is that PandaCat also loves a lot of other gods, like Anhur, like Artemis, you know, gods that can really put the pressure on early or late.
Do you think Enemy will mess around this game at all? And when I say mess around, I mean like pick a little bit more oddball, not the overall comfort and full focus composition, just because of what happened game 1.
No, I think they want to get this over with.
Yeah,
I
no
think
messing around.
Yeah, Pain does not seem like the kind of guy who tolerates messing around. You know, he hops on his stick in the woods and chases after you, and it's terrifying.
He's going to hop on that shield this time round. Athena going to be locked in on Raijin again for Khaos, so just go back to what we had. A little bit of a change with the Athena lock-in a little bit earlier on, but they have left Ra up again.
Ra is up here again, not really scared of it. Odin not going to be selected for the support role. I'd imagine. I haven't seen Shattered play that Athena jungle, though it is a possibility.
Yeah, we could definitely see that happen. I think we could even see Marauder take it to the solo if really required, depending on what Kiki takes here. So Envy, with the Soul already locked in, more than likely, as you said, more than going to go towards Cabom here, not towards the mid lane.
It could go to Team Money. I'm not particularly familiar with his god pool. Haven't really seen enough of his play to say if he's comfortable on this Soul or not. I just know that we did see Cabom on it earlier, so that's what I was assuming. We could see a hunter pick up here. A Jingwei would fit very nicely. I mean, giving you the 2 premier hunters at this stage would be pretty effective. Nemesis for Skeeledon, I like the selection as long as he's able to work together with his team. Nemesis isn't a, I'm going to carry the game now god. It's a, hey team, kill this person for me, please, sort of god. You use the ultimate, you strip away the protections, you strip away a % of their health, and then you trust your team to follow up and make the damage happen. So it can work really well. It can be very effective. It's just a matter of trusting your team.
Well, Fafnir this time around going to be picked up. It's not a first pick, first ban mentality anymore with Fafnir. He can be fitted into teams, but he does not overall has to be picked. However, with a Sol alongside him, he can really utilize the Coerce very, very effectively. That's one of the reasons you see him drafted at this stage.
Exactly. So Coerce with Sol, the interaction there is that Sol gains more damage as she stacks up her passive using basic attacks and abilities. And when she's fully stacked out on that passive, she's swinging really, really hard on those auto attacks. She's very, very hot. And then you're able to boost up that attack speed with Coerce, making it even more effective.
Well, Rama's going to be locked in for enemy there, going over to PandaCat more than likely, especially now that Raijin has been locked in for Khaos here. So they have both. He's gone for the Hunter early on here. He doesn't want to get Panda out here. PandaCat going for something very comfortable.
I like it. Rama has been so effective in so many different players' hands during the offline group stages. I mean, we saw player after player just come in and make a big impact with Rom. And with the sort of big play guy that PandaCat likes to be, Rom fits that bill perfectly.
Arachne ban from enemy. I never thought I'd see the day that enemy end up backing in Arachne twice. Just
twice in a row.
That's mad. That's why like, even Marauder, I guess, just doesn't want to deal with it more than anything else.
Could be. I mean, Kiki just looks so comfortable on it. Like they mentioned, even though Kiki hasn't been playing the solo lane,
I heard
it's like riding a bike.
Ranked though lately. That's what people were saying. Is he played a lot of Arachne in ranked. So maybe that was the reason they've seen him doing it there a little bit, and he's had good success with it. So don't deal with it. A lot of sustaining that guard, and the rotational ability and difficulty to gank is very, very similar to Vamana in a lot of ways.
Sort of, yeah. Not nearly as tanky as Vamana, but you do get the extra movement speed on your webs. Your ultimate gives you movement speed and takes you out of the combat space for a decent amount of time. Again, it's more about the fact that Arachne isn't a top-tier solo laner. It's that Kiki is a top-tier Arachne, and you don't really want to deal with that.
Kiki can just be top-tier sometimes, or Geb tier sometimes as well. Amaterasu banned out from them. They don't want to deal with Marauders. Amaterasu is back over to enemy again. I wonder if they'll fire a shot towards Kiki one more time here.
Wouldn't be surprised, though.
The only other Geb?
Chalk, maybe?
Chalk. That's a good. Okay, that's good.
Chalk, but it's going to be Agni for Team Money, taking that away from the new mid laner. They assume that that soul is going to go into the hunter role as well, though this does leave up open Jingwei. If they want to select that for Cabom, that could work very well.
At the same time, Ra's still available, and Ra's just solid all round anyway. Very, very safe in the laning phase as long as he stays far enough back. But the Athena could make an impact with that, but you can see her coming.
True, but there isn't a whole lot of setup for him with this composition. You really don't want to be drafting Ra without that setup. I mean, even the best Ra's in the world that trust themselves to land the snipe without any sort of setup, it just doesn't work out as nearly as well as you want to most of the time. Love the Vamana ban there from Envy. I mean, Marauder, we talked about it all the time during that game one. It was just Marauder, Marauder, Marauder with the help of Shattered. No reason to let him pick that same god and really dominate you.
So that's the real question for me now is where's really Marauder going to go to this? He will have the counter pick option if he so chooses here, because he can wait and see what Kiki's going to run. And after Kiki running Geb one game, Arachne one game, you're kind of like, all right, you pick, and then I'll try and find something to deal with whatever it is, or something to end your life with.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull out the Chalk. We've seen a decent amount of Chalk recently, ever since the buffs. I feel like he's a pretty strong character right now, and would really fit the bill of early pressure. Enemy's not going to go for Chalk, but they're still going for early pressure, locking in the Awilix.
Could have caused some issues for Fafnir there as well. Can't use the underhanded tactics to escape as easy, because we'll get pulled back into a dangerous situation if he so chooses from that gravity surge. And it also means that Envy's next couple of picks, they have to be very careful about, well, what they choose. If they choose the Jingwei, she can go for a wild ride that she doesn't want to be on.
Yeah, you got to be careful knocking yourself up as Jingwei. The good news is that if you're fast enough with the agility and you get knocked up from max range by Awilix, you can actually agility out of range of the ultimate in time before you get stunned, and the Awilix gravity surge does go on cooldown. Guan Yu being hovered here, and I love this idea from Kiki. Guan Yu solo just let you get to the team fight stage and really let you make the impact there. Instead, okay, so this is going to be Skadi middle. This is the god. When I was looking up Team Money, when I was doing my research, this is the god that everyone talks about for Team Money. Skadi.
Okay.
He'll split push your brains out.
Yeah, from mid.
From mid.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not so sure about that one. It's going to go mid lane.
ADI.
Skdead. That's how it should be spelled right about now. If he's going to go in the mid lane, I don't think it's going to be the easiest thing to deal with a Raijin and the Awilix there. And then an Athena that's going to turn up with taunts as well. It's not like Skadi has a hell of a lot of mobility. She has to rely heavily on her skid to get her out of dangerous situations, giving her mobility and repositioning the other enemies too.
Skid is a really cool ability, man.
Yeah, it's all right.
Who did that?
Don't know. Whoever it did was a genius.
Yeah.
If only
he probably wears like bow ties though.
Maybe he does. Enemy will pick up Bellona though for Marauder at the end of this one. So Marauder's going to go for the safe situational pick of Bellona, who's good all around. Kind
of surprised we don't see Sun Wukong here. Sun Wukong's usually the one selected alongside Awilix because he's got the knockup.
Go-to as well.
Yeah, one of Marauder's go-tos would be able to shut down the Talu Assault for Guan Yu. I was really expecting to see that. Instead, it's going to be the Bellona, not really looking to interrupt Kiki so much as just outright kill him.
All right then, boys. Team money mid. Where's your money at? It's not on the T screen, that's for sure.
No, rip T screen.
Yeah, rip T money too now.
Rip Skadi. There's the money sign.
I'll be honest, he knew it. He knew
it. Yeah,
my issue with this is I don't think it's going to be that good in the mid lane. It will clear the wave okay in the early stages. If you try and siege it down, you can cause issues with the ice field a lot of times. And if you do catch people in an awkward position, you can root them in place.
Sure.
But then you're against a Raijin who can immediately use the Thunder Crash to get away with the immunity frames. You're against an Awilix that can get out of that with the leap as well if need be, or the Feather Step to avoid some of that damage. And then you've got an Athena who could ult out if required anyway.
Very true. I mean, we see gods like on her in the mid lane. They're usually there to punish immobile mages, like a Ra, like a Zeus, things along those nature. And Skadi does the same thing, punishes immobile gods heavily. She's going to be able to outbox you because it's not one-on-one, it's one-on-two. You've got her and Calder to deal with. The problem is, like you mentioned, is that there is mobility in the mid lane. Khaos on this Raijin. It's going to be difficult for Team Money to do what he wants and box him effectively. But at this point, I mean, your backs are up against the wall. You've got to win this game. Go to your comfort picks. I wouldn't play it because I'm terrible at Skadi, but I don't really have that much of a problem with Team Money pulling it out.
It's more for me, and it's not really the pick of Skadi overall. I guess it's just the fact that this is a very serious game that you're trying to go into the Gauntlet with, and you're relying on a Skadi middle for your chances to continue in this tournament of like, all right, guys, I've got nothing else in my god pool. I guess I can pull out Skadi?
I guess so. I mean, it was only a matter of time, right? That was like the meme whenever the roster was announced was, let's see T-Money's Skadi middle here in the Gauntlet. It was only a matter of time until he pulled it out. It took until game 2 against Enemy, but here it is.
From what I've understood about Envy now is that you can see Envy has taken the left on Harpies here. What I understand about Envy is that they seem to have a rule in place that one of them is allowed to play a jank unusual pick per game.
I mean, they've had Kiki on the roster for how long? That's always going to be a rule.
We saw Loki jungle, right?
Yep.
Then we saw the Arachne solo lane. Then we saw the Geb solo lane. And now we see a Skadi mid. Like, only one player can play something jank. The rest have to play standard.
Well, they like draw straws to see who gets to play jank that game?
I think so. When Team Money hit the lottery for the first time.
Sure did.
This time round. As you saw, a good top from PainDeViande there. Getting both Cabom and NeiruMah there with that double taunt. And Cabom got punished quite heavily there, but he's got one health potion ticket and one still in his inventory, so he should be okay for the time being.
Plus, he has Radiance to heal him up. That first ability does give you decent sustain. Once you level it up, it gives you really solid sustain, but in the early stages, not going to help him out too much, but enough to make an impact.
Yeah, right-hand side, sorry, left-hand side again. PainDeViande going to get another double man taunt, so a little bit more poke with a full minion wave coming in, but the separate will keep Cabom alive for now. The left-hand Harpy is going to go the way of T-Money and Skeeledon here, and I'm very interested in how the wave clear will go there, but look at Shattered camping solo lane yet again.
We've seen this one before, but last time it was when Marauder was 5 and Kiki was level 4. Right now, Marauder is still sitting at level 4, but Skeely's on the left-hand side looking for the gank on Panda.
And they're looking for pressure with the dash in from Athena there onto Cabom as well. Cabom actually missed a stellar burst, however, but the hammer time connects from NeiruMah, allowing Pain to be in a very awkward position, still at level 4, looking for the minions to body block and help him out, but it won't happen. Skeeledon gets credit for first blood.
And they don't use the shell on the side of Enemy. That was actually EnVyUs' shell that was popped to secure that kill. Team Money is making the rotation. Here's the gank from the Skadi middle.
Level 5, and he's going to get the root off. Going to force the Eagles Rally Cavalry charge to chase him down as well. Speed up through the ice field as the storm comes through onto Marauder. Team Money's looking for the kill, and Kiki will pick it up 2-0. And Skadi mid. Get it in your rank games, boys and girls.
Shatter actually jumps in. He's got no way out right now, but the rotation coming in from Khaos means that Team Money does have to back up, doesn't have enough mana to continue pushing that kill potential in that solo lane anyways. You heard it here first, folks. Skadi middle. It's
going to be done. It's the way forward. It's the future. Team Money is showing us the future of the SPL and competitive play right now.
I hope not.
I'm so excited.
I do not like playing Skadi.
I mean, he got a kill. That's all you can say about it. He's still level 5. He's a level down right now on Khaos after that kill, but he did have a minion wave in mid to clear, so now he's evened it back up to 6 again. And for the most part, I mean, Hunters in the mid lane, they can wave play pretty effectively. They can play stay relatively safe. Well, most of them can. Skadi, differently, she doesn't have an escape, a natural escape that you see on most other Hunters.
No, but she does get a speed up from that ice carpet. You get a little bit of, you can lay down the 3 and you move faster and it's more difficult for the enemies to chase you down. You get knocked around like a hockey puck or something else that goes on ice. Hockey puck's probably the best one to use. So it is.
You like hockey, so
I do like hockey.
You should be able to think of references of things on ice, right?
Yeah, but I've also seen a lot of shows on ice before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw, when I was little, I remember going to Little Mermaid on ice. That was pretty solid.
No one cares.
Someone might.
No, they really don't.
Okay.
Trust me, wait for the tweets to come through now, right? If one person tweets back that they actually cared about what Aggro just said, I will be surprised. I'm not going to say anything else because normally like people will expect prizes or something there as well. Good poke from Team Money, but he's had a mana in the mid lane now. Still working at 1,400 gold to get that Transcendence Online. Has it in his inventory, but look at the damage of the drums of Warren Skeeledon. The shield comes out a little bit too late there. Shattered got forced out quite well as well, thanks to NeiruMah turning into the dragon.
Team Money just did not have enough mana to continue that fight. If he would have been able to pop that ultimate, that could have been a really good turnaround opportunity for Envy. Instead, has to turn and run as Skeeledon wants to keep pressing it. He wants to be the one fighting in there, just not quite on the same page in that engagement.
Really good start actually coming out from Envy because of this. Kiki's now level 8. He's got a level lead over Marauder, but he's got a full minion wave here, so it should slim the difference a little bit there. And he started Wrath again, and we didn't really mention this on the side of the Guan Yu, but going for the Wrath early game gets him to lane a little bit earlier, but he doesn't have the teleport to get back in time.
No, he doesn't, but he doesn't have to worry about health sustain as much as most other solo laners because he has that conviction heal that's going to heal himself up. He's not as worried about getting poked out as most solo laners would be. However, this does hurt his rotation ability in the early game. Guan Yu doesn't have the greatest clear early on. He's going to get outcleared a little bit by Marauder as long as Marauder is able to step up and do whatever he wants, basically. This does mean that Kiki's objective steal potential is very, very high, though. Coming in on the horse, jumping off, stunning whoever's tanking the Gold Fury, and then using that Wrath could make for a big play.
Well, on the left-hand side, because you know, I'm thinking about a gank here on to PandaCat. PandaCat will get vision because of the minions being there, rolls away, misses the hammer, unfortunately. Actually, a quick sidestep there from PandaCat will get him out there. But going back to the Wrath again, you know, on the side of Kiki, you mentioned about how good Gold Fury security can have. That's one of the reasons we used to see warriors in the support role for a long period of time, was because their ability to get in and actually secure buffs. Some of the best Gold Fury securers were always the ones with like leaps or jumps that could jump in, or you like displace people as well.
Wukong was phenomenal.
Sit on your monkey cloud and just sit there and watch him and thank you, this is mine now.
Plus, he had the knock up on his 2 at that time, so you could knock up with your 2, you could knock up with your bull, you could come in and make a big play, you could use the bird form to get in there as well. That's why we saw Bacchus being pretty prevalent in that meta as well, the knockups from him.
I think it wasn't too bad. She had to rely on the taunt though to make sure that the other support couldn't do anything about it. But then it was taunt hog used to be the old days, but now it's taunt Wrath if she wants to try and make that happen. But not going to have the Wrath this game. It's Shell online at the moment. Still 6 minutes in. It's been, for the most part, it's been as expected in the early stages. Yes, Envy got 2 kills, but it's been pretty much all focused on farm and Enemy doing a better job of it, as you can tell, just because of the fact that 2 kills away of Envy, and they're still even.
No, and Khaos actually not scared of the Skadi middle whatsoever. No. He's gotten the Doom Orb instead of the Dynasty Plate Helm. Most of the time, when you're up against a physical mid laner as a hunter in the mid lane, you know, your Neiths, your Chirons, your Anhurs, and I guess your Skadis, you want to go for that Dynasty Plate Helm to give yourself a little bit of protection and damage. He's going for all damage right now.
The hammer just missing, but a great pull over the wall from Shattered, picks up Skeeledon. I don't think he really wants that fight because now Shattered's out of mana as well. What was he thinking with that play? He's going to have to run for his life. Luckily, reinforcements are here and Khaos channels the drums of war. Team Money's getting some decent damage off in the back, but the Thunder Crash away from Khaos and pull him safe. Now Team Money versus the world as his team tries to get out. Pops the ultimate looking for the pick on Marauder, but Marauder is just too quick for the dog to get in range, and it's not a dog's day today. It's a dog's dinner.
Now Team Money has to run away. He's only got Boots 1, Pain chasing him down. There's a slow. Khaos trying to follow up, and he only has Boots 1 as well. He's not very fast.
Around the corner, claim Skeeledon there looking for a bit of a cleanup crew, but a little bit low on mana to really continue contesting there. Did like the purification out of Team Money, knowing the taunt was coming at exactly the right time, so he stays alive for now. But Enemy, they picked up their first kill of the game, and it went the way of PainDeViande.
Shatter just able to get out there, had just enough mana to hop on Asuko and get out of danger up towards his tier 2 tower. And Team Money, I mean, he had a great angle on that fight. Khaos wasn't looking at him. He had his back turned, and he's hitting hitting him with the ice spears, but just not quite enough damage at this stage in the game.
Yeah, he's still lower on the stack side of things of the Transcendence. Obviously, it's still pretty 10 minutes, so it takes a little bit of time to come online. He needs those boots coming online too for the extra damage spike. So in the early stages, not putting the same impact in as you would see the likes of, from my opinion, the likes of an Anher, just because of his passive making an impact.
Yeah, Anher's passive definitely makes a huge impact in the early game, taking away protections.
Heals. I think that's the reason we see Chiron and we see Anher and Neef, is because they have two of them have sustain, which allows them to stay mid, and the other one has a lot of extra damage because of the passive.
Very true. I mean, those are two of the reasons why we see those hunters in particular. Also, all of those hunters have a lot of damage on their abilities. It isn't just auto attacks.
That's
so
true.
That Skadi fits that bill. She does have a good damage on that one, and the 3 can actually do surprising burst damage. And then, of course, Calder is going to really bite his opposition as much as he can.
Well, if he can. Well, there's the dog getting sent on a merry adventure here. Well, this time round, it's not going to find much other than a free bit of poke, and you've got to be careful with that if you don't know too much about Skadi. Calder has 5 hit points, so you've got to use those auto attacks on the dog to get rid of it, and the people that don't do it is the reasons that dog does so much damage.
But whenever she pops her ultimate, the dog becomes immune, and that's whenever Calder is going to do the majority of his damage throughout the game. Whenever
it's like better than Fenrir at that point, because it can't die.
No, he's not better.
It is.
Brutalize does a million damage.
It's true, but he roots you.
Have you ever read the tooltip? It literally says a million.
Does it? I didn't even know it was released yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do the patch notes. How did you not know?
I don't really do the patch notes. I just read off a screen. That's it.
Isn't that doing patch notes?
I read off a screen and then listen to it.
Oh, great
right
pull!
Side. Bit of a pull here onto Skeeledon, trapped in place, drums of war. Khaos picks him up and NeiruMah can't turn up in time. But now NeiruMah's in a bit of trouble himself. He's going to be forced to ultimate. They've got Raijin waiting on him as well when he lands down. The knock-up is going to stop him from running away. He jumps in place, but no, he knocks him again so he can jump out. NeiruMah will survive, but the speed buff on the right-hand side for enemy, I think that's going to be stolen.
Great play from Shattered. He's come out looking so strong in this set. He was the one who got Marauder really far ahead in that solo lane in game 1, and right there, pulling Skeeledon out from the safety of his tier 1 tower, then forcing the ultimate from NeiruMah, almost picking up that kill as well. Really strong play out of the jungler for enemy.
And this is the thing, when we saw T-Money mid lane there, he couldn't do anything about that. He was just like, sorry guys, I've got nothing.
See you later. Have fun.
Left-hand side, red buff looked at getting stolen there by Pain, but with Cabom here, they will be able to pick it up. It's going to go the way of T-Money in the mid lane, so they're looking to get the damage spikes online now. With the Warrior Tabby and the Transcendence fully stacked, T-Money will start to swing a little bit heavier on the Skadi.
A little bit, still needs a couple more items. I mean, that's one of the reasons we don't see more Hunters in the mid lane. We're talking about why we do see some, but one of the major reasons why we don't see more is the fact that Hunters are very, very level and item dependent. Their items can be difficult to get in the mid lane. You need that farm.
Skeeledon under pressure here, going to ult in place, gets the shield up too. The ice field was already down, but Skeeledon going to get sniped out by Panda. The 2 shots in a row missing. He needs 1 to hit, but not going to find it. Panda not on the mark today.
But Shattered is yet again picks up T-Money in that mid lane. T-Money used the purification, but it wasn't quite enough. That immobility of Skadi coming back to bite the mid laner.
I love how aggressive Khaos has been. Like, it's just stood up so far in this lane right now. Like, I will fight for days. Talking about fight for days, Marauder just used the Eagles Rally there on Kiki. Kiki holds his ultimate here. Got chipped away in health, but pretty much matches it in terms of health now after that conviction.
So even though enemy is looking like the stronger squad right now in this game, we still haven't seen Kiki make the rotation into these fights, and that's when Guan Yu is going to make his biggest impact. It isn't right now. It isn't in the laning phase. He needs a couple items. He's getting the cooldown and mana that he needs from that breastplate, and he's going to be able to sustain up his team.
And I guess from the side of Marauder here as well, I mean, he's actually out-rotating Kiki early on, which is very important for him to do. He needs to keep that pace up of the rotations ahead of time, just so Kiki doesn't arrive first and cause the big issue.
Exactly. You're waiting. Marauder just wants to keep Kiki in lane as long as possible in this matchup. Let Marauder push, make Kiki stay in the lane or force himself to give up his towers to make an impact in the team fights, because you're going to have a better team fight with Guan Yu than you will with Bellona.
Right-hand side, pressure onto Kiki, but Kiki going to face him and force a cavalry charge, but took a lot of poke from that already. Eagles Rally is back available for Marauder here as well, so just keep your eye on it. Kiki's going to time this dash well. The dash is on cooldown now, and Marauder knows it. Eagles Rally will connect the stun, and the follow-up is there from Shadow, but diving at tier 2 is not something they want to do when Marauder is that low.
Marauder completely out of mana, but the rest of Envy not looking at the Gold Fury, instead looking at the mid lane. Do have ward coverage there. kind of surprised that we don't see Envy try and make a play on that Fury.
Well, they're making a play on Kiki instead. His enemy right now. He's still low on health, Kiki, and low on Mon. Is still on Marauder. Marauder tanking this up, but the meditate does come into effect now, and Kiki's surrounded. Feather step for Shattered will pick it up, and Marauder looked very upset that he stole that kill.
And here's the Gold Fury right now, falling a little bit below half health. No Wrath either side. Here's the Drums of War. Envy get the Gold Fury, and now Skeeledon getting very low.
The snipes from PandaCat still not hitting home again, and he will escape Skeeledon. NeiruMah can just leap away on the Dragon with the underhanded tactics back to safety, and Envy respond in spades there with that Gold Fury take.
Just doing something, not letting enemy dictate the pace entirely. They're the ones at least being a little bit proactive on this left side of the map. On the right side, we saw a couple of really, really great plays from both sides. We saw Shattered pop the ultimate just for the attack speed and damage. A lot of times you'll see Awilix kind of hold that, wait, oh, you know, all it does is pull them back in and stun them, but it provides a big attack speed and power boost to you, using it to make sure he can secure the kill with the Feather Step. Marauder with a good meditation bait, and then Kiki almost lives because of a great double Wrath underneath his tower. Bought him a little bit of time, enough time for his team to grab the Gold Fury.
And that worked out well for them now. Approaching 14 minutes in, 4-2. You saw the gold lead. It's ever so slightly still in enemy's favor. They do control this game as it's gone on. The first blood going the way of Envy, as we saw. Didn't really make that much of an impact overall, and since then, they've not actually had a kill.
No, but they are just staying in the game with that Gold Fury. It doesn't have the big, you know, spike you want to see. It's only around 12, 13 minutes that they were able to secure that, so it's not going to be worth a whole lot at this point, but it's something. It's keeping you proactive. It's keeping you on the front foot.
It looks like the boys of Envy here just like sat around waiting for something to happen. They're waiting for minions to come down from somewhere. They know there's people on the right and the left, and Enemy actually just doing a good job of controlling the jungle, keeping Envy contained in the mid lane, unable to do anything.
All the buffs were down, all the back Harpies were down, nothing for Envy to do at that stage.
And then they try and find a pick, and they find one on Skeeledon. He gets taunted in place, falls to Khaos. Khaos turns it around with 3 taunts in a row of damage from the Drums of War. Team Money comes into effect, but gets Eagles rallying in place. Has Purification to escape that, but he can't escape the bludgeon damage from Marauder too. One more in hand will do it. PainDeViande credit for the kill. There's a Gravity Surge as well onto NeiruMah. NeiruMah one hit from death, and PandaCat finally hits a snipe.
Skeeledon forced to retreat. Here comes the horse. Kiki forces out the Sanctuary from Khaos, but now he's in a bad spot. Kiki gets killed. Double for Shattered, double for PandaCat.
That's 2 towers.
4 dead for Envy, and that's it. That you, like you mentioned, 2 towers. PandaCat still completely healthy. Only Cabom left to defend.
And Cabom can try and still burst this wave and use the supernova if he needs to, but if he goes in too close, he's going to get taunted, forced to purify. It's just not worthwhile, so they're going to lose a monster amount of gold there in the mid lane. And the right-hand side of things, look what Shattered's doing.
Split pushing it down. No Gravity Surge, able to kind of boost the split push potential, but with the rest of Envy just now spawning, he's going to be able to get solid poke onto that tower. Takes it down to about half HP, and if they're able to get that solo tower down, that means the Fire Giant is completely wide open with both mid towers down and 2 towers down on the right-hand side. If Enemy are able to finish off that half-health tower, it would really open it up.
Here's the play. Envy, hope and a dream. They're going to try and force the Fire Giant. I don't think Enemy expect this right now. Awilix is actually forced to back at the moment. This is a free Fire Giant.
I love the call from Envy. This is a sort of proactiveness that I was talking about. This is what you love to see out of a team that's getting down, getting out. I like the call.
But it doesn't happen that often, does it? I mean, you got to go for it, but how often does that really work? It doesn't, does it?
Never. Very rarely.
The odds of that really working against a team are so slim. It's like 1 in a million. No, not 1 in a million. 1 in 100. Every 1 in 100 attempts will have that situation happen to it. Now, Enemy, they're going to have to deal with a Fire Giant Envy, but the way they've been playing so far, they can still win this.
I expect Enemy to still keep their foot on the gas pedal. There's no reason to let up right now. Yeah, the Fire Giant does help Envy fight into this a little bit, but not enough to really warrant you backing off and playing passive, especially with PandaCat getting this tower on the left-hand side, and with the rest of Envy backing there. I was kind of surprised we didn't see Enemy force down that half-health solo lane tower, but that's probably going to be next on their list.
Could see a fight over this red buff here. Enemy forced to retreat. The hammer from NeiruMah just missing after the underhanded tactics there. And you can look down the level list, and I'll tell you now, Marauder, 1 level lead over Kiki. Shattered, 4 level lead over Skeeledon. Mid lane, 1 level lead for Khaos. In the support role, 3 level lead for PainDeViande. And finally,
great pull again.
What did that pull?
right through the mid-harpies. Cabom forced to use the purification. Shattered totally okay with trading that out. That means Cabom is looking for to just try and stay away from PainDeViande, because you know he's going to be in his sights looking for that taunt.
Split push Marauder still at it again after game one. Eagles rise in place onto two. Pain there with the follow with the taunt. NeiruMah joins the action. Drums a war coming through from Khaos. Can't get the damage off to secure the kill onto the low health target, but next up on the list is NeiruMah, who stayed there, tried to help out his team, absorbs a lot of punishment for that, but over the wall is waiting Shattered. He's thinking about it, but he's going to just retreat back to his team.
No pull this time for him. Sustain is definitely in EnVy's favor, though, also with Guan and the Fire Giant. Don't forget about that as well. Looks like they're going to be able to defend this tier 2.
Not going to be able to find the damage over the wall there to find the pull and the gravity surge, but they will hold. The Fire Giant coming into play a little bit more there, and the sustain from Conviction.
But it's just so hard for EnVy to fight into this roster from enemy. Even with the sustain they have, they just don't have the levels. You were just talking about it. In particular, the 4-level deficit in the jungle. And then the real difference for me in that set up against Most Wanted for EnVy was Skeeledon. He was able to really show Plasma how to jungle correctly, but this time it's been Shattered with pushing it.
Well, in the base at the moment is Khaos, so at the moment EnVy may have to give this tier 1 tower. Shattered is swinging around the back to engage, looking for a pick. Taunt from PainDeViande hits 3 in that fight overall. The knockup doesn't come through from Shattered as Pain is now forced out of the engagement. Tier 1 tower falls down, and Shattered is forced out on the left-hand side. Marauder took a lot of poke from Cabom there, and this group up from EnVy with the Fire Giant is the answer they need, it seems. The Conviction sustain is helping out.
This is why you draft Guan. Athena ultimate coming in out of Khaos. There's the pull again from Shattered. Cabom forced away from the tower. Sanctuary going to immune that damage, but a nice double taunt into the double Thunder Crash.
And Khaos picks up Skeeledon. Pain dashes in to make sure he takes out NeiruMah as well. More pressure onto the side of Team Money now. Skadi can't help you now, Sunshine, but Shattered and the Wrath coming out will help, and PandaCat will take your life instead.
Cabom, the only survivor yet again. I'll actually hold that thought. Kiki is still alive for now, but has no mana left available. Meditation's down for a little bit longer. Enemy gonna give up the chase, let the solo laner live, but an excellent engagement started again by Shattered. A great pull on a Cabom. He got his purification earlier with the exact same play by the mid-harpies. This time for the Sanctuary, but then they run straight into Pain's taunt, and Khaos follows up beautifully.
And you can see the graphic didn't really dip up that much when EnVy got the Fire Giant. It's gonna dip further down in favor of enemy here as this Gold Fury falls as well at just under 20 minutes.
This is looking like the very formidable enemy that started off season 3 in the spring split.
But it's against a different team here though as well, Aggro. I don't want to give them too much credit, enemy right now. They've just played standard, you know?
Very true.
And they did this online. And will they be able to do this against Allegiance by the looks of it?
But the big thing for me is that Shattered looks like the beginning of Season 3
yes.
Shattered. That's been the big one for me, is that he's been the one who's been setting the pace for enemy, looking very strong, being all over the map, making the big plays that leads to enemy winning these team fights. Whereas during the fall split, we saw Shattered really have a difficult time making plays just like that.
Well, that's a 1v3, and now he's going to have to use Suka to jump away. He won't be chased down by the boys, but he did manage to force a couple of situations on to the side of Skeeledon. Only the shield. Sorry, the shield. That's all it was. It wasn't any purification or even actually. Purification
was down, so Skeeledon didn't even have that option. No Sanctuary Force, though, using the shield as a sort of pseudo-Sanctuary, and you can see Shattered actually on top of the player damage charts right now, still maintaining that 4-level lead over the top of Skeeledon. And if I'm Allegiance watching this game, I'm thinking the same thing you are. Oh, this isn't the same teams that they've been playing against. Yep. This isn't the strongest competition maybe, but I am paying attention to the way Shattered's playing. He's really been impressive. Taunt from Pain will connect with Kiki, and he did get his dash as well, so he's forced a cavalry charge away. Team Money on the left-hand side. We're going to tier 1 tower for the boys of EnVy, but he's still not with his team right now. He's looking to split push to victory, whereas enemy, they're looking to group up for victory instead. Phoenix for tier 2 tower definitely favors enemy, but EnVy kind of needs to give this up. NeiruMah doesn't think so. He jumps in, transforms into Dragon, ultimate onto PainDeViande, getting low. Cabom blows him up. But so is the Phoenix as well. The drums are one. NeiruMah's very low. Underhand detected away, not this time. Says Shattered into a feather step as well, which puts Kiki under pressure. Eagles rally will allow Shattered to get a double kill. Cabom has to disapparate away. Skeeledon will survive too. Team Money still looking for a Phoenix. He's looking for it. Should be going down fairly soon. Does have the Jotun's Wrath. He was willing to play for the split push the whole time. He wasn't going for the usual Hunter build. Instead for the penetration. And now PandaCat comes in, looking to box with Team Money. Team Money used his ultimate already. Team Money wants the Phoenix. He needs the Phoenix. He ain't getting no Phoenix. so low, so unfortunate. PandaCat comes in, makes the plays. He's got 3 levels. He's got the Titan's Bane, the chin size. He's going to win that boxing fight as long as he hits his shots. And of course, PandaCat hits his shots.
It wasn't really a boxing match though, because Team Money didn't hit back. He just focused on the Phoenix the whole time.
Yeah, it was PandaCat was fighting for his friends. That's what he was doing.
I fight for my friends.
That was PandaCat right there.
That's true.
He backs. He's like running towards the Phoenix. I fight for my friends,
well,
and then he just goes.
This does help out Enemy, though. It gets them settled into this game. The first time actually playing in the Gauntlet here. So getting 2 games under your belt, 2 comfortable wins for yourselves when you're about to face off against Allegiance that everybody's touting as being a potential top-tier team now with the roster changes, a sort of super team that has been formed for this Gauntlet.
We talked about it earlier, and the fact that Enemy is now going to be warm for their set. Hold that thought. Nice double taunt onto PandaCat. NeiruMah has the Raijin on top of him, spreads the damage out a little bit. Cabom forced to back up because of it. Shattered still does not want to let it go, misses the knockup that time, but yeah, Enemy's going to be warm going into the set against Allegiance, and Allegiance has been sitting here all day long waiting for their turn to play. It's going to be interesting to see how hot they can come out. How well are they going to start off the day?
Fire Giant started, but the boys of Envy charging in. There's the drums of war. Only onto Kiki, though. Kiki taking a lot of free poke, but Kiki still stands tall for a second until Thunder Crash from Khaos. NeiruMah around the side was trying to make something happen, but PandaCat will pick him up. Who's next on the list as Enemy? PandaCat rolls in. Dash in as well from Shattered and PainDeViande. They're looking to pick him apart.
T-Money just hiding in the buff camps as long as he can. Gonna fall to Marauder. Cabom's next on the list. Khaos picks up his 4th of the game. He and PandaCat sitting on top of the player damage charts. Just how you draw it up if you're Enemy, your mid laner and Hunter. Coming up big, your jungler again looking great. Shattered 5-0 and 10, and it looks like Envy season is coming to an end.
Well, St. Bernards are known for their medical treatment in extremely bad circumstances, but I don't think any sort of dog could save this day right now for the side of Envy. Enemy will march on. Enemy will meet Allegiance for the final spot at the Super Regionals.
And it all comes down to the 2 teams that are most expected. I mean, Most Wanted was a great story. They find the victory up against Noble. Then they win game 1 against Envy. It looks like we could see a Challenger Cup team run the gauntlet. Instead, Envy turns it on. They find the victory.
That's true.
And they run into the brick wall that is Enemy.
And Enemy looked pretty good overall in that set. In the grand scheme of things there, obviously game 1 there was a gap and they just abused that situation. And then game 2, I mean, it got off to a good start for Envy overall there. They picked up a couple of early kills, but they never really capitalized on that and carried it on.
Exactly. Again, it was low pressure in the jungle. You've got Nemesis in the jungle on Skeeledon. High pressure in the jungle and solo lane for Enemy. Again, it was Bellona and Awilix, well, whereas before it was Vamana and Awilix. For me, that seems to be Enemy strategy going up against Allegiance. I'd be very surprised to see them pick low pressure on that right-hand side.
And that Allegiance composition that's going to be coming up against them as well is going to be a little bit more trying here. I think Enemy will have some things in the bag overall, Aggro, don't you think?
I would expect so. I mean, Enemy always has something in the bag. They've always got something ready, and so does Allegiance. I mean, Allegiance is always going to have some interesting picks going on. You'll have to wait and see if they're going to be running that sort of Nox composition or if they're going to be going for Kukulkan, you know, Mercury. Who knows, basically, but you know they're going to do something along those lines.
Well, Shattered had a pretty good performance for himself there, at least in the game 2 on the Awilix in game 1 as well. Just to add to that one, he just made an impact from start to finish, pretty much, I want to say.
He was hanging around. Look at this. This is what he was doing all day long, waiting on the sides of the walls in the jungle, and then pulling the opposition into him, into the rest of his team. I mentioned it during that entire set. For me, Shattered was one of the players. It was all of Enemy really, but it was Shattered in particular that really struggled during the fall split and during the online stages. Here, he comes in, makes the big impact, and it's no surprise that these victories are easy for Enemy when Shattered plays like this.
Yeah, and he's just a good use of it as well. You saw how low his mana was there, but he still had enough mana to do the combo, get on Sucru and like dip from the fight, and then like, okay, now I can go back in and ride Sucru like she wasn't even there.
And then find the dog. The
Look
cat
at me,
versus the
Skadi.
dog.
I have the invisible pet. I'm better now.
Skadi's pet's kind of invisible. Whenever it's not being used, it looks like a little ghost.
It is. That's true.
Little ghost dog.
Sure, it does have camouflage, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty useful overall. Enemy move on to face Allegiance. Very interesting set overall. Very good course of the day. But the big one is about to happen shortly. Allegiance versus Enemy. One of these teams will make it through to the Super Regionals. They won't play until the group stages of the Super Regionals, though, and they're going to have to walk into a very, very interesting set of things. The no Dignitas has already qualified as well.
Dignitas is going to be there, and then the 2 losers from their semifinal matches will round out that 6-team group play at Super Regionals. Even if they win the Gauntlet, that does not mean that their road gets any easier. In fact, it gets significantly harder, basically. They've got to win up against these other group stage teams, but You can't look ahead to that right now. If you're Allegiance, if you're Enemy, you've got to be looking just at your opponent. You can't be looking ahead to Super Regionals.
Well, don't forget as well, this weekend there is double favor, I believe, and double experience for all you and your friends. If you played a party of 2, Aggro needs a friend. Look him up. He's hi-rez Aggro in game, and you will be able to play with him because he has nobody else to deal with.
Hindu, do you wanna cue some?
Nope, I'm good. I have to cast with you. That's better.
What about Assault? Assault's fun.
Okay. I'll play some Assault with you.
Yeah.
Aggro's best day just happened for him. I agreed to play a game with him.
Finally,
Feels
I've been
good.
waiting.
Well, it's time for us to cut to a break, and when we're back, we will bring you Allegiance versus Enemy, the big one.